So who wants to have to go to an emergency room or A&E during an NHS doctor's strike where they've told you not to go? Yep, that was me. This week you can probably see from behind me that I'm not at home in my study where I usually am when I record these, but I am in hospital. So long story short, for those that haven't been around, I started chemo about 8 weeks ago, and immediately my Fitbit watch alerted me to the fact that I had irregular heart rhythms, and so I phoned the chemo hotline, and they brought me straight to A&E at that point, where they gave me blood thinners and beta blockers, and then sent me on my way. But the reality was nothing actually changed, and so they tried to increase the beta blockers a little bit, but nothing changed. My heart continually racing very, very high. And as I've had more and more chemo, that's got more and more difficult for me. It just means that I'm really not moving, I'm really not doing anything at all. I'm out of breath if I do the slightest thing, go and make a cup of tea. So that's been really hard. I went to see my GP, who agreed that it wasn't okay and something needed to change. So he contacted the cardio consultant at the hospital, and then I got a lovely NHS message on my phone to say that they would contact me urgently. After that, a week passed, so I contacted my GP again and said, maybe urgently means something different in your world. But a week's passed, nothing's happened, so he sent another letter, did the same thing. Another week passed, still nothing. So this time I booked an appointment to see not my GP but one of the GPs in the surgery, and he confirmed that the letters had been sent and nothing was getting done. And he said, I can send another letter, I can do all of that, but he said, really, if you want to accelerate this, the only way you're going to do it is to phone 999 or to go to A&E. And at that point we were in the middle of an NHS doctor's strike, so we waited a day, and Hazel, my wife, has a Friday off. So on Friday she said, look, come on, let's just go. We'll go and sit in A&E. Now, because I've got colon cancer, I do have a fast track pass for A&E. So when I go, they move me along very quickly, which they did. And it was like a ghost town in the emergency room, to be honest. Saw the same nurse that I saw when I went in last time with the AFib. So she took all my bloods and all of that. The upside was, of course, was that there were no doctors around, no junior doctors, only consultants. So whilst it took a little bit longer to get the care, the reality was that when you got the care, it's excellent, and decisions were made immediately. There were no need for consultations or anything. They just made the decision. So yeah, I came into A&E at 10 o'clock on a Friday morning, and then was wired up to loads of leads everywhere. Basically, it was a real challenge. Plugged in, and it was apparent that my heart rate was just so high all the time, even when I was just lying in bed. And even now I'm wired up to a portable ECG machine. And so even here, as I'm sitting here talking to you, you can see, look, it's 130, 123, and all I'm doing is sitting here talking to you. So it's off the charts. So that's what it'd normally be if I was on the treadmill. And so my body feels like it's on the treadmill all day, which is why I'm so tired and exhausted and what have you. So anyway, so they kind of connected me up to a big ECG machine, which made going to the loo a bit of a challenge. And there's so many wires, so the easiest thing to do was actually sort of unplug the main connection. And then that let you walk off, and then you just plug yourself back in again, rather than disconnect all the separate wires. So that was quite funny. But anyway, we were there from 10 in the morning, and then, as I say, saw a lot of consultants. I think the downside of it all was there's no communication. You didn't really know what was going on until something happened. And then about 5 o'clock in the evening, we were still there, still wired up. And then somebody just said, right, we're admitting you. And then I was admitted. They took me out of A&E and put me in what they call the AMU, or something like acute medical unit, which seems to me to be basically a holding pen where they can get you out of A&E so they don't get into trouble for having you in there too long. And then, so anyway, I was just there, nothing happened. So I got there at 6 o'clock in the evening. Nothing happened, nobody spoke to me in terms of telling me what was going on. I was just there. And then at 5 o'clock in the morning, which they came and said, we're moving you now to the cardiac unit, which obviously made more sense. But who moves people at 5 o'clock in the morning? It's a bit of a shock to me anyway. So they did. They moved me, and I was there into the cardiac unit, which has been great. And there's some great guys here who we're kind of chatting with, but they're now trying to kind of medicate down my heart rate, trying various medications. But today I'm going for a echocardiogram, to make sure that structurally my heart's well, it's in good shape, literally and metaphorically. And then I guess we'll find out from there. My only concern is obviously this week is a chemo week for me, so tomorrow I should normally be having bloods taken for chemo, and then on Friday having chemo. So I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but one would assume that I'd get the chemo here if I'm still here. In fact, the chemo unit is literally just across the courtyard over there, so you can almost see it out of the window there. So yeah, it's not beyond the wit of man, but of course we've just got to do it. So yeah, so I don't know how long I'm going to be here, or how long I'm going to be doing anything. Just wake up every morning, wait to see the consultant and see what's going to happen. But as always, I just feel very peaceful, enjoying the peace of God, the love of God. Even this morning, I kind of woke up early with some thoughts about sermons and all that kind of good stuff. He's speaking to me, which is great. And I know that he's good, and I know that this will work out for his good and his glory. And what's the point in being down? There is no point in being down. You know, yeah, I get sad sometimes at night, but the Bible says that, you know, tears are in the night, but joy comes in the morning. And that's how I feel this morning, very joyful, really. There's a couple of nice guys here that I hang out with. We have a lot of banter and fun, which is great, passes the time. Many friends and family have come to visit already, which again is brilliant, helps pass the time. So we'll see. Anyway, big day today in terms of the echocardiogram. So I'll find out what that is, and then I'll post an update as and when. Okay, great. See you soon. Bye.